The Faith and Fishing podcast is sponsored by 413 Lure Company. 413 Lure Company is a family-owned and operated business that puts Christ first and does things the right way. Using really high-quality components, they make some really awesome spinnerbaits, buzzbaits, bladed swim jigs, and more in some really sweet color combinations. Check them out on Facebook to see what they can do and place your order today. Welcome to the Faith and Fishing podcast, where you get to hear all kinds of fishermen tell their stories and share their faith. I'm your host, Cam Steele. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Faith and Fishing podcast. I'm your host Cam, and this week, in light of everything going on in our country right now, I wanted to do something a little bit different. The racism I have been seeing lately from so many people I once considered role models has been very disheartening, and I've been wanting to do something to help amplify the voices that are not being heard. So with that being said, joining me on the phone, I have a couple of great fishermen and really great guys to talk about racism and what is going on in our country right now. With me is IGFA world record holder Alphonso Jackson, and joining him on the phone is Lonnie Ellerbe of DreamWorks Outdoors. Y'all got to hear from Alphonso last week on that episode of the podcast, and Lonnie will have an episode coming out soon so that y'all can get to know more about him. Alphonso, let's start with you and just have you give a brief introduction so that people know who you are.
Yes, my name is Alphonso Jackson. My social media is North Carolina Fishing. I hold a North Carolina state record and my GSA world record for real best fish.
Awesome, and
okay.
No, go ahead.
Oh yeah, and I'm Lonnie Ellerbe, founder of DreamWorks Outdoors. My social media is you can at DW Outdoors with a Z or DreamWorks Outdoors, and it'll pop up.
All right, so let's dive into it, y'all. So I've never really experienced it except from a third party or third person point of view, watching it happen to someone else. But if you guys don't mind talking about it, what are some ways that you have been affected by racism? And Lonnie, we can start with you.
You said some ways that I've experienced racism.
Some ways that you've experienced it or been affected by it, either way.
Well, my mom and daddy retired military, so I was an Army brat, and I've been around a lot of different places, different ethnicities and everything, so I don't have a set, group of friends or anything like that. I'm just me, I'm open, but not everybody's raised like that. I really appreciate my parents for, introducing me to a lot of different backgrounds or whatever. So I have an open heart to, different people, but, I got a lot of I've got all kind of bad negative, feedback, of people assuming that I'm posing or being something that I'm not, or I need to be myself, which is not a thing, just because I hook and I fish, there is no color on that. Just like Alphonso, he's a different ethnicity, but that doesn't mean he can like to hunt and fish or whatever. But those are some of the things that I've got all my life pretty much, that I'm fake and I'm trying to be something I'm not. But, that doesn't stop me any. It just makes me want to reach out to people more and get them to understand that, everybody just got to be themselves and, fall down and dream regardless.
All right, and how about you, Alphonso?
Well, I come from a Native American background, but I feel a lot of racism because sometimes I'm a traveling superintendent and I'm not running my own company, and I'll be on jobs, just say in Tennessee. A good one in Savannah, Georgia. I was in Savannah, Georgia. A group of guys walk up and say, can you introduce us to the superintendent? Well, I told them, I said, yes, I am the superintendent. They looked at me, they said, no, quit joking. And you really introduce us to the superintendent. So I actually pointed to a white guy across the field over there. And they walked in and asked him who the superintendent is, and they want to meet. So when they come back to have to talk to me, they were like, man, we don't really see people of color with positions like these. I'm like, you know, it's not my skin, it's my knowledge. What got me. My skin didn't get me nowhere, my knowledge what got me. Right. And like down in Tennessee, a group of superintendents would go out to eat. We'll get up to go change. If they drop the change in everybody's hand but mine, they'll drop mine on the counter for me to pick it up. Right. Because they don't want to touch me. Like I got no duty. Right. And then my response to them is, thank God bless you. I hope you have a good day, and maybe one day you'll change your mind and see me for what I am and not what you think I am. Right. And so I have to sit down and tell my kids a lot of times because they go places and they're like, Daddy, why do they treat us this? I'll be like, they just look at our skin, they don't know it. They don't want to get to know it. And it's not, sometimes it's not their fault, it's the way they was raised. It was raised in them, so that's all they know. But sometimes you have to go back and you have to blame their parents for not breaking the cycle. The cycle's got to be broke sometime, you know. But how? We got somehow or another we just it's back to like when back in the days when they were drafting everybody sending them to Vietnam. People didn't have cell phones. They didn't have computers. The only thing they had was the power of prayer. They prayed so hard that their child would come walking back down that road that they could see them again. Right. And prayer got a lot of those kids home, believe it or not. If you listen to a lot of them veterans tell you how people with bullets just fly past them. Some incredible stories out there. Right. But that's what my grandma told me. She said, if we get prayer and the kids will come back home, and it's still done for my sons. That's deep. So I really think that's what the world is missing today, because they're trying to take Christ out of everything. Yep.
Absolutely. So, kind of speaking of Christ and segueing into this next question, something that has always bothered me has been the segregation in our churches. In your eyes, how has racism affected our churches? And Alphonso, we can start with you this time.
Yeah, what I think, to me, it all goes back to how the racist person was raised. It's bred in, they don't know no difference because they've never taught to see no difference. And when they go to church and because we have black, white, Indian, Spanish that goes to our church, and it's no different. But I can see sometimes when outsiders come and they sit and they look and they see and they ask us, why do y'all let those Spanish people come? Why not? And you look inside them, they look the same way I do inside. They want to know about Christ. They want to know about God. And that's just what trips me out. And it's mostly the people that I run into is from up north. They're not from around this area. Because around this area, we try to stick together. But you have some that like I say, just spread them, and they're not going to do the same thing. They're going to keep on carrying on the hate. And when they put it in the church, and they divide the church, that's one of the most critical parts. Because you shouldn't be going there about another person's color. You should be going there to hear the word and learn more about what you can do to be considered color.
Absolutely. So, Lonnie, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, he's right, cause, actually, to be honest, my mama is a minister. And so, I've grown up, and, going to different churches or whatever, she would guest preach at some churches, whatever I'd go. And I got to see a lot of different churches, every church has their own way, you know, and I've been to churches that I've been, like, accepted all the way. I mean, I've seen it in Asia, everybody, you know, I've been to churches like that, and I've been to some conservative churches that are, like, for example, it was an African American family, and, they really had some problems. And, like, the whole family had a lot of problems, and, you know, people were intimidated. I heard, you know, just sitting back listening, they were uncomfortable because they felt like, you know, maybe something might jump off on them, or, you know, that their life, the way that it was something bad or whatever, et cetera. But, and it just made me think, like, that they need help. They're looking for Jesus just like everybody else. Why does it matter? Why are you uncomfortable? You know, I mean, it shouldn't be like that. Just because somebody has a hard life or whatever, and looks bad on the outside, you can't just judge them and not feel comfortable about them, or lend out a helping hand when you have a guy right here that, you know, is completely healthy, and you see him every day, but you're comfortable with him. And stuff like that, like, it doesn't seem like it's a thing, but it really is, you know, and, you know, it's harder for me to actually see it, like, from, you know, that type of point of view, because I've never got to see it like that. Like, I've always, everybody's welcome. I don't know no color, so when I run across and hear stuff like that, it makes me feel on the edge, because I'm like, I would never think like that about the same person that would think that about me if, you know, I had a hard time or something like that. But you can't say nothing about that, because that's just how you were raised. So, you know, I just keep trying to, you know, I try to stay, you know, focused and have a curious of a heart that I can, about situations and stuff like that. But I have seen some cases of, you know, like discrimination or stuff inside of the church place. You know, and believe it or not, actually going into some churches and coming in, like, say, for example, I might come in a little late, just looking at people here where I'm located at and where they're sitting at makes a difference. You have a group over here. You have a group over here. You have a group over here. Now, I can't say that it's on every church, but I have personally seen this segregation in the church. Like, and it doesn't seem like it's a thing. Everybody's at church, everybody's clapping, everybody's listening to the same thing, but everybody's not together, I don't think. You know, like, I mean, you know, like, I don't know. In my opinion, I like to see a good blend of, you know, like, you know, neighbors here and there, but when all African American people sit on the left and most Caucasian people might sit on the right, and then you got, you know, like, that segregation. I mean, regardless of how you think about it, that is segregation, but why is it like that? I mean, nobody didn't say anything to each other, but it's naturally segregated. So, but, I mean, this is just some of the things that I've seen, you know, over my 27 years, you know.
All right. And both of y'all are much more active in the fishing community than I am in terms of tournaments and all that good stuff. But, so I'm not sure if it even has affected it, but has racism, do you guys think that, racism has affected the fishing community in any way? And, Lonnie, we'll start with you this time, and then we'll just kind of go back and forth with y'all.
Well, I think, yeah. I mean, I've been in a bunch of different tournaments. Like, it's really not, like, necessarily, like, racism or anything, but, hey, man, or I might hear somebody be like, hey, man, who taught you how to fish, or what kind of rod is that? Like, I'm patronizing the fact that, like, I might not know what type of fishing reel I'm using, or like, what kind of line you got or whatever, and then I tell them, oh, okay, you know, like, it's weird, I can't really explain it, but it's like, oh, you say you got a fishing rod, but tell me about it. Like, I'm not gonna know about it because I love fishing. And I get that a lot. Like, I've always say, I got that, stuff like that. Like, if I say, come into a tournament and I'm saying I'm gonna be confident and I'm gonna catch one, you know, I'm gonna catch nine. Yeah, we're gonna see, you know, I don't think, that's what they all say. Everybody come out here and say they can fish, in the man's world. Like, why can't I just be as good and actually give my all like you know, to do what I love? Cause, you know, it's just, I don't know, little stuff like that stuff sticks to me whenever I hear it. It doesn't make me stop fishing any harder. It actually makes me even more fish even harder. But yeah, I feel a couple little things like that. But for the most part, everybody just wants to fish on the water.
Absolutely. And Alfonso, what about you?
Yeah, I've noticed this. I've noticed it in a couple of tournaments. I've been in a couple of tournaments, and a couple guys have asked me, how did you, before we begin the tournament, if one of these guys with you? You know, I got my own money. That's how I got in. Whereas, you really sure you want to do this? Because you kind of don't fit in. I fit in anywhere I go. I can blend in with the best, but I'm camouflage. I fit into the neighborhood. Yeah, you know. But I'm not going to be, you know, I'm not going to be snobbish to them. But when I come back with the big fish, that just says it all. And then they look at, who did you say you were? You right, yeah. We've never heard of you. And I probably won't fish with you again, but it was nice to meet you this time. And it's just these little stuff like that where you pull up in your truck and they look, and you can hear them whispering in the background. Listen out here for that truck. You got the sales girl. You got it.
Yep.
That nice place.
Yep.
He's definitely a drug kid. When he comes out, we're going to have to game with him. Great fun, you know. I've had that happen. You sit on the game with him and say, look, a couple of guys don't think you're legit. You need to check your computer. Yeah, that just let me know that I wasn't working there just because of my skin color. It had nothing to do with my fishing skills. It had nothing to do with me being ugly to people. It was just the color of my skin. They just didn't want me there. Because when you look around and there's 25, 30 people, and you're the darkest one out of the crowd, and everybody's looking at you like you stick out like a sore thumb. And sometimes I don't even respond because there's no need to say anything because you can't fix it. You can try, but you can't fix it.
Right.
Especially when they're 60-year-old men, grown men. They're supposed to be grown.
Right. All right. So, we'll get a little more personal here, and Alfonso, we'll start with you this time. But has your faith been affected in any way by what's going on in the world right now, or just by racism in general?
Well, when the racism happens, to me, I think it makes my face stronger. Because if not, I probably would explode because sometimes I have to sit back and have to listen with a voice in the back of my head and say, don't see the end of this. Then there's the other little voice on the other side saying, yeah, you need to see them too. You need to let them know what you're about. But sometimes it ain't all about that. Sometimes the best way to hurt a person is with kindness.
Right.
Kindness, really. Kindness, evil person, kindness will tear them up, or they talking something to you, just standing there with a smirk on your face. That seems to eat them up a lot that I find them. But I actually think that it do make me get closer to God because sometimes me and him, I have to go outside myself and have a one-on-one just to make sure that I'm still where I'm supposed to be, because sometimes it does get to me. It does make me angry. It does make me mad. Because I didn't experience it when I was a child that much, or I might have and just didn't get that much attention from the parents should. You said it like that. But as I got older and traveled, I experienced it more, and that's how I know that if I didn't keep a tight hold of God, that I probably could be locked up any time. Because sometimes some of the things people say, you ever heard them say that words cut you to the bone?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it will cut you straight to the bone.
Absolutely. And Lonnie, what about you?
You know, to be honest, completely honest, I've never been the type to, you know, to feel any type of way towards anybody about anything, but my whole life almost, it really started when I hit high school, you know, and I got to see different people and to deal with different people and actually with friends that I've grown up with, baby, with all this stuff going on, the posts on Facebook, I've been shocked to just listen to some of the views that some of my friends that I would give them a shirt off the back. But, I mean, some of these people are really hateful, you know, but my thing is like this, just because they're hateful, I've never done anything to them. They've never done anything to me, but just listening to the views, it puts me at a position where I'm like, well, dang, that could apply to me, you know, but I'm different. Like, one of my buddies, I can't say his name, but he told me straight in my face, he said, Lonnie, you're not like them, you're different. I don't know what that means. And it hurt my feelings, because what are you saying? What makes me different? Like, what? Because we know each other? Like, I don't know, but stuff like that. As long as I can remember, like, legit remember, I've dealt with stuff like this. My girlfriend is white. Alright? Some people do, some people know, some people don't. I'm not racist. You know, I mean, I don't have that in my phone, but, like, people say I act too white or I'm trying to be white. How can you try to be white? How can you try to, like, ain't no, white is not, you can't act white, you can't act the color, like, and it hurts my feelings, because if you think like that, that's toxic for the world. And here I am, I got to stay strong, I got to stay positive, keep saying, no, you should think like this. And really, it's a negative seed being planted. Every time you hear somebody say something, it's a negative seed. And I'm trying my best to keep it in the line with actually being proud of who I am and understanding that people can be proud of who they are too. It's hard. And so, like, I don't know, sometimes I don't know what to say, because, like, when I see posts and stuff like that, I can't say anything, because I dated Caucasian female, you know, and so I hear her point of view, I hear my point of view, but, I mean, it's really not going to change, because, I don't know what to do, to be honest, and, you know, my faith is already, based off of life, you know, is already hard enough, but stuff like that definitely doesn't make it any better. It almost makes it hard to open up to people. When you're younger, it's nothing to open up. You don't have no worries, you're cool, everybody's nice to each other, but when you get older, people change, they have views, they feel some type of way, or whatever, and you have to serve, you have to just deal with it. Not everybody's right. I mean, that's just simple as it is. I mean, you can't get mad. Because not everybody's raised the same way, and not everybody's nice and kind-hearted like that. But I mean, what can you do?
Hey, Lonnie, I'm with that truck you got. How many times you heard people say, that's a good thing?
Man, look, I'm telling you, hey, I had one time, I was at Walmart, and, it was like 3 jacked up trucks, like beside mine, but we were all coming out the Walmart at the same time. We were kind of like walking behind each other, kind of like, around each other, but, that way we don't walk across each other's path. And the guy was, they were looking at my truck, like, they were ahead of me. And they were, I heard them, they were like, yeah, that's right. I wonder what that is, looking at my logo and everything on the back of the truck, and they were like, man, that's nice. And a guy took a picture of the rim, because he said he wants the rims. Like, now here I come, I walk up, they turn around, and they were like, and it was awkward because they were like looking at me, like, not letting me through and get to my door. And I was like, no, I'm gonna get to my truck. He was like, oh, it's your truck? I was like, yes, sir. And, they were like, shoot, we didn't know that, or we didn't think that. I can't remember if they said we didn't know that or we didn't think that. And I was like, yeah. I mean, I wish I can put honest, like a face to what, when they looked at me, it was like, no, like, ain't no way. But you know what I mean, Alphonso, you know what I'm saying?
That's the reason I brought that up.
Yeah. And believe it or not, I take pride in my truck. I like it because I come from a raggedy 95 Honda Civic that overheated, and I had to work my way up just like everybody else to get something that I like and take pride in. And that's the reaction I get. Much time, like, oh man, like you said, too much drugs. What is he doing? How is he doing it? Oh, you think you're better than us or whatever. Ain't no better than nobody. The thing still take gas just like everybody else. I don't want to take gas just like you. So I mean, but yeah, I give it. But yeah, that's a good example, bro.
All right, so I know so much of what the African American community has been trying to voice has fallen on deaf ears. What message do y'all need the world to hear right now, and what message do y'all need the church to hear right now? And Lonnie, we'll start with you this time.
Well, I think the world needs to know that we can't do it without each other. Like, to make a permanent change in life, everybody's got to be on the same page. I mean, you got to let your pride go. I mean, it's different between letting it, I don't mean all the way go, but you got to be able to, like, just be the bigger person. And sometimes it sucks and everything, but sometimes you got to be the bigger person than them. The thing is to get everybody on the same page. I mean, kids, start teaching them from baby, what it means to just care for people, not no color or nothing like that. We all need to work together, and maybe we can make a better place, a better world, a better, country. Like, but like basically, I've been saying the same thing. Divided, you're gonna fall together. Strong. Put a popsicle stick by itself and you break it, it's gonna break. You put a handful on, you try to do the same thing, it's not gonna break. But it's just gotta break the chain.
And would you say that the message that y'all need the church to hear right now would be the same message, or would there be a different one that you need them to really hear?
What I need for the world to hear is we got to unite. We got to become one. Whether it's a million, we got to have one voice. We can't have 1,000 different voices. Yeah. And we need the church. The church needs to step back up and start back leading us. Come from the back burner and come back and get back in the forefront. Without them leading us, it's total destruction, because we can look and see what's happening right now.
Absolutely. And Alfonso, we'll start with you this time. What's keeping that message from being heard?
People hearing it, but they're not listening. They're not listening. They're not taking grasp. It's going in one ear and out the other ear. 1,000,000 people saying it all the time, but nobody's actually taking grasp to it. Listening. Yeah, they say, "Oh yeah, I hear you. I hear you." But are you listening to what I say? No. Because see, insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome when it's the same outcome every time. So if we steady hollering at each other, we're steady putting each other down, we always see what the outcome's going to be. Nobody's going to make it forward. But if I help you and you help me, we'll both ride together to the top as one.
Right. You can hear me.
That's right.
That's awesome.
Got to stick together.
And Lonnie, what would you say is keeping the message from being heard right now?
I think just people are scared to talk. People are scared to be honest with themselves. And, I think that's really what's holding back a lot is people are scared. They don't want to step on any toes, so they hold back different conversations in the church or whatever to try to not cause any trouble. But sometimes, to be honest, you have to address the elephant in the room. Because if you never address it, how can you ever solve it? So I just think people need to just open up, and that's the only thing that's really keeping everybody from being further than what they really are is in the church places, trying not to step on toes. Sometimes you just have to,
Absolutely. All right. And so what problems do y'all face when you're trying to voice your opinions? And Lonnie, we can start with you this time.
Well, it depends on certain things. Like, I'm an African American male, but if I'm having a conversation with other African Americans or whatever, and it's not to their standard, I'm a traitor. Oh no, I'm not listening to none of that. You're brainwashed. You. Why do I have to be brainwashed? Because I said that, like say for example, just say one of the videos where African American male, he honest wasn't doing anything and something happened, or if they or he or she was giving the police a hard time and then something bad happened. If I say, hey, well, if it was in my shoes, I would have did this, this, and this, and if it's not exactly what that guy did, I'm a traitor. Like I'm taking their side. Ain't no they side. Ain't none of that. I'm just saying here's a person how I would do things, but I can't voice my opinion because people think that I'm full of. But I mean, I'm open to all ends. If you're in the right, you're in the right. If I'm in the wrong, I'm in the wrong. And that's one thing that's hard for me, talking to a lot of, African American people or whatever, or any kind of colored people, Indians or whatever, everybody's got their own way of thinking, but that's the only part that ever held me back is, people, insinuating that I'm fake or, I don't know who I am. I've lost all my heritage or whatever, all that crazy stuff. But that's just people, how they think. You can't make them think some kind of other kind of way.
Absolutely. And Alfonso, what about you?
Well, my biggest thing is sometimes I don't know how to say what I want to say. I have it planned out, and then it comes out in a different way. But most of the time, it's just that people, they don't actually think I know what I'm talking about when I'm trying to voice my opinion. They'd be like, well, that's just something that's made. No, most of the time I have facts to back it up if I'm making them, because I was taught that way. If you say something, have facts to back it up. And I don't have, I try not to be too political, because sometimes that'll make you lose a lot of friends, or make you gain the wrong people and lose the right people sometimes, or vice versa. So it's kind of a fine, thin line there on what you say and how you say it. But that's my biggest thing, and I think that us, as brothers and sisters in Christ and Americans, we need a bigger platform for ourselves to be heard. We need a new leader, like Martin Luther King and people like that. We need a new leader.
And not Al Sharpton or nobody like that. None of them. You know what I'm saying?
I agree 100%.
You hear what I mean? You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, we have the wrong leader now. Like when it comes to trying to better. But I didn't mean to cut you off. But go ahead, man. But you got it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, we need, like you said, not the ones that are there now. We need us a new leader, because not knocking Al Sharpton, none of these.
Yeah.
It's a different time now,
right,
than when they came through.
Right.
We're facing different demons than what they fought.
Right.
But don't get me wrong, there could be mentors to this new leader.
Oh yeah.
They say, you need to do it this way, that way you stay clean, and nobody find their dirt out on you. And
right.
That way you get you a good following, and then people would start listening again.
Right.
Because you look at people like Geronimo, just for instance.
Yeah.
There was no cell phone or nothing like that back in those times. And they said he could have 14,000 slaves ready to fight within 2 days. Now, how did he communicate? How did he pull them together? And we pull them together today.
Oh, yeah, right. Yeah.
And he had no way to communicate with us. But today we have all the communication in the world.
And can't get out. Yeah.
And can't get it out. Another example is, you think about it, you and your family. You know, the COVID-19 was bad, and they had some good things. I got to spend a lot of family time with my wife and kids, but I haven't done it in a while. But this is just something that I was noticing. We can be watching the same stuff on TV. My kids will be in their room, my wife will be in the living room, and I'll be in my bedroom. How come all of us ain't in the living room watching it in the living room together?
Right. We're watching the same thing.
That's right. That's the reason why the message is not getting out. Because we're not spending the time, and we're not feeding it in our kids like we should.
Mm-hmm.
We're always too busy doing something else. If it's not a phone, it's a TV. If it's not a TV, it's a computer. If it ain't a computer, it's a watch. If it ain't a watch, it's a tablet and photos. So nobody's bringing in quality time.
Absolutely.
So there's no way to change if we're not input it into our child. How can we expect for them to get it out? So we'll never change.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I know that I will never be able to read Exodus in the same way that someone whose ancestors experienced physical slavery and had heard those stories and then now is currently experiencing a mental and emotional slavery And this, y'all started to touch on this already, but what is it going to take for there to be an exodus and freeing of mental and emotional slaves in America right now? And Alphonso, we can start with you this time.
We're gonna have to. We're gonna have to. That's right. We're gonna have to start input into this knowledge. So we give up that has the knowledge. Some people don't have it. Into these kids to try to start reckoning. I think that's why a lot of kids are doing more mixed relationships now, because when they're small, their parents are not telling them, well, you and to be one together. Don't see no color. But what needs to happen is when they got these children small, they need to be killed. There's no color. Because when you get one piece of together, there's no color. When you bleed, when you blood down through your body, it's blue plus anybody. But where it gets internally, it's going to do the same thing. And then when the kids get older, they rebel against the racist parents, because the racist parents are telling them, no, you can't do this. No, you're not going to do it. And what happens is exactly what they tell them not to do. Mm-hmm. So, if we could stop the rebellion through everybody, because this mixed couple here, they're going to be all right. But their children are being affected, because when they go to school, other kids are going to pick on them. Other kids are going to say, what are you? Right. They can say, well, my mom's white, my daddy's Indian. Right. Or some other kind of scenario. Right. They can say, well, you don't fit in. You don't fit in with Indians. You don't fit in with the black. Well, where do I fit in? You don't. Yeah. You feel like you don't belong nowhere. Nobody wants you. Right. And that's right. When we got people kids, that's not the way to do it. Because I heard a man say the other day, sometimes we got to start bullying the bullies. Right. The ones that can got the strong ones that got to bully the bullies, but you can look at it. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Lonnie, what about you? What do you think it's going to take for there to be a freeing of the mental and emotional slaves in America today?
You know, I can't, for my answer, I don't even know too much about it. Like the rapture. I believe stuff like that is the only thing that's going to make people realize that none of that, what they're talking about, is important. You know, when you start losing your people you think are going to be there your whole life and all that stuff, and the best friend next door and all that, when people ain't up to par and they're gone, then you'll care. Because you won't be able to fix it. You won't have time to fix it or to not care. All of a sudden, I think that's what's going to take for everybody. Like, and it's sad. I think, you know, I just think that's just the only thing it's going to take, because talking's not going to do it. You know, everybody has to be on one accord, and it's almost practically impossible to get everybody on one accord, because everybody's their own person for that part. But the only way to get pain is universal. Everybody knows what that feels like. So when you lose somebody that you love and stuff like that, all that pride will go out the door. You'll start listening then, and you'll start caring, and all that stuff. But like I said, I'm not too even sure exactly of what all that consists of, but I honestly think that's like something that spiritually that'll have to happen, because we need some divine intervention around here, because it's not going to work.
Well, you know, Ron, only thing they would have to do is they would go to, I just said it, Revelation. Revelation tells them, you know the end of time's coming.
Right.
And you can't tell winter from summer and summer from spring and spring from fall.
Right.
So it's happening every day around us.
It's coming.
So if that don't wake them up,
there's nothing gonna do it.
Absolutely. So there's a lot of anger going around in a lot of different directions. But what needs to happen in order for healing to begin in our communities and churches? And Lonnie, we can start with you this time.
Actually, what needs to begin? Churches need to be more, I don't know, I felt like churches, when I was younger, they really did a lot, like, in the community, learning people, getting people to not learn things, being, people like, missionary people. Oh, somebody has a house that burned down, donate, or whatever, or, just be, like, like all churches, they can be like that. Oh, a church is person over here, like, just wait till this whole church today. This church over here has enough people for our church. Let's all have church here. Like, do it like that, be more, versatile and just get out there and talk to the people because we are really quiet right now. I've seen one church, anything dealing with any of this stuff right now. I've seen Antifa. I've seen everybody. I have not seen the church. I've seen people from the church go help maybe clean up after a riot or whatever, but the churches used to be out there. Like, you don't see it no more, and I don't know what happened. So I think that's what it's going to have to take. It's going to have to be something like that. Churches got to break out of that shell, just get out there and try to help each other. I don't know how to explain it,
Absolutely. And Alphonso, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think here in the community, like I say, the pastor and the deacons and the brothers and sisters of the church, we need to start getting back out and visiting like they used to. Having, they can't go to church, they need to go be having church with them. And making sure they still hear the word. And the community needs to see a lot of love. They got to start having barbecues, going to our neighbor's house, visiting them, and helping the elderly.
Right.
So if we don't help our elders, if we don't know where we come from, we'll never know where we're going. So we need those elders. That's the most important thing. We got to take care of our elders. Because right now, here in the county I live in, Roberts County, there's still a lot of elders here that are still displaced from Hurricane Florence. There's 20 and 30 years old that got help before the elders did. That's not right. Our elders are our leaders. So if we don't keep them happy and safe, it's not going to work. It's not going to work.
Absolutely. All right, and for those of us who genuinely want to help but legitimately don't know where to start or how to help, what can you tell us? And Alphonso, we'll start with you this time.
Well, the main thing is when we're out there, even if people try to shy away, we need to talk. And when they're on social media, we need to put it out there and let people know that there's still people out here who really cares and that everybody's not the same. we just don't, everybody just don't look at clothes. Because I don't care if somebody says, well, that man out there, he's probably talk about everybody. When he ain't that good, or he ain't this, and he did that. I give him the chance until he does things to me. I can't fault that. But we need to be spreading the word just as much as we can among the kids. Unite as one. Keep our voices heard and amongst this way. Let's do protest, not riots. If you don't know what a protest is and a riot is, look at Mark.
Look at us. Right.
He'll show you a protest. And if you want to see a riot, look at some of the stuff that just happened.
Well,
we need to be sure. We don't want war. We need to do this peacefully. Nothing's going to come out of war but fear.
right.
And there still won't be somebody problem with us. There's a bunch of dead people with floating on something. Yes, it is. So that's the reason I just say we just got to spread the word that we got to unite. We got to get back in our churches. We got to pray. And that's that's basically what we got to do. If we don't do that, I don't know how it's going to change and how it's going to work.
Absolutely. And Lonnie, what are your thoughts?
Well, to be honest with you, Alphonso about what I was going to say on the head. Things are a little backwards nowadays, and it's backwards is becoming the norm. Like you said, the old lady might be walking up to the door, and what happened to just staying that extra couple seconds to let her make it to the door instead of, oh, she's too far, I'll close the door and just let her walk in. Like little stuff like that goes a long way. If everybody had the same mindset like that, I think the work would go a whole lot further. But it's not like that. Like it's changing or something. Like I don't know. And you would think it would get better, but it's getting worse. And like you said, we don't need riots. We definitely don't need riots because that's negative attention. It's different ways to do this. Well, people, I get it. People are hurt. They don't know no better. They're trying to vent and express themselves, but it's a way you got to do it. And bringing attention to yourself is definitely not the way to do it. So I just think people lost compassion, and people need to, tap into their compassionate side, learn, make being a good person a priority, all the way through, not just to yourself, but to the next man. Like, be good to yourself and the next man, so maybe it'll trickle down like a domino effect. You be good to this man, then Alphonso, he'll be good to the next man, and then Kim will be good to the next man. Personally, that's the only chain I know that'll probably, have any kind of positive feedback right now.
That's awesome. And are there any final remarks or words that either of y'all want to add before we start wrapping up the show?
I love everybody, and if y'all go check out my page or whatever, you know what I'm saying? I love y'all. I love everybody. I hope y'all stay wherever you're at, But that's all I got to say. I like to say that, let's get this thing together and get ourselves back out there and become one world like we should. Let's not keep being divided. Because, riots ain't gonna do nothing. One thing got to do, look how they burned up California years ago. It's not gonna do you no good to burn up your own city, because then you're gonna have no good to go. Let's do this for right sake. Right. Peacefully. Calmly. But loudly. Ooh, yeah. I like that. Calm but loud. That's right.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Well, before I let y'all go, did y'all want to Did y'all want to plug any sponsors or give anybody shout outs?
Well, shoot, I want to shout out Alphonso. You know, shoot, I mean, hey, you know, he called me one day and he said, man, a guy named Cam, and I told him about you. And, you know, and now this is our second conversation together and everything. And, you know, without him, you know, I wouldn't be able to have this conversation right now. And, you know, I like to have good people that believe in you. He believes in me. You know, I believe in him, and we don't know each other between, you know, and so, hey, that's pretty cool. I like that. And everybody who supports DreamWorks Outdoors and everything like that, and actually think that I'm going to make it and make a change around here where I'm at, you know, I really appreciate everybody, and Cam giving me the chance to, you know, getting tell you some of my views and who I am as a person, you know, giving me a chance to get my, you know, my voice out there.
And I'm supposed to get on the foot a bit, so I can reach a bit. Make my fish off the ground. Gotta sit outdoors. If I can get anybody in there. But I really want to give a shout out to DreamWorks Outdoors, because two other conversations and one was smelling baked in a pack. Yeah. And turn into something special that we get paid with when I have to watch them. Right. And I want to say, if you ever around Rockingham, North Carolina, please check him out. You'll be surprised, because DreamWorks Outdoors does so much for the kids. He takes them fishing, a my thing, buys some fishing food, lures, whatever they need, he supplies. If you're ever down that way, use this charter service, go out there on board forward. They put you on from 40, 50, 60 pound catfish, guaranteed. Yes, sir. Guaranteed. I want to give a shout out to Cam for bringing this podcast to North Carolina and doing such a wonderful job with it. And having us on. Just want to say thank you, Cam.
Well, yeah, thank you, Cam.
Well, thank y'all for the kind words, and Lonnie and Alphonso, thank y'all so much for coming on the show and opening up with us, and pray that this reaches somebody, helps ignite change, and hope y'all stay so safe and well, man.
You too,
and absolutely, and all y'all that are out there listening, thank you, and y'all be well. Take care, and God bless.
Yes, sir. Y'all be good.
Thanks for listening to the Faith and Fishing Podcast. If you like this episode, please give it a rating, a review, and make sure to subscribe on whatever app you're listening to so you never miss an episode. You can follow the podcast on social media at facebook.com/faithandfishingpodcast and Instagram at faithandfishingpod. Special thanks and a big shout out to our show sponsor, 413 Lure Company, to Jonathan Enthalancy for helping me write, play, and record the music for the show, and to Tyler Worrell, the graphic designer behind our amazing logo. If you have any questions about faith, I encourage you to contact a pastor in your community. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, get out there and catch some fish, and I will catch you on the next episode.